So
What do you
your
mean?
big container, full of orders that we were hoping wasn't going to sink into the ocean
I don't know. I don't
never
know the logistic. It's,
technically happened?
I possibly, and part of it may have been a internal communication issue. All of it in response to tariffs.
Oh boy, we're back on the air, Andy. How you doing, man?
I get it, man. I'm doing good.
It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit for you and I. Took a
Yeah.
couple weeks off there. Everybody, welcome to the Make Trades Great Again podcast. I'm Eric. He's Andy. Andy, we need an update on the apartment buildings that don't have roofs and air conditioning all summer
Yeah.
long, and everything's going to hell in a handbasket about a month or two ago. What is going on with that job?
There's progress being made. Both buildings now have roofs. So that's a plus. The second building, number 2, went off without a hitch for the most part. Yeah, it's been a just one of those projects that's like I had envisioned this going just, this is the way we planned it to happen, and it is not. I mean, we've had, supply chain issues has been, a thing, right?
Yeah.
We
So bring
talked about
everybody up
that.
to date real quick. From the beginning, you had supply chain issues. You
Yep.
bid a job. Come to find out, maybe you couldn't get the equipment or something like that.
Yep. We couldn't get the equipment. Talked to the owner. They're like, no problem. We'll put temporary in, window shakers, whatever. It'll all be fine.
Because they had some kind of insulation issue and how it
Yeah.
was installed on a roof system, and then there was water trapped in the building,
Yep.
so the water vapor, so it was causing mold build up,
Yep.
all kinds of growth inside this apartment building. So they tore the roof off, like the whole
Yep.
structure, right? Like trusses, everything. Right?
No. So they took the membrane roof off, like the rubber membrane, the foam insulation, stripped it down to sheeting, found that the sheeting had mold issues. So they peeled the sheeting off. Sheeting had mold and mildew issues on the bottom side, is my understanding.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the extent because I didn't physically see it, but what I was told is they had several trusses that the top cord had damage, right? Structural issues.
Because of this water vapor.
Yeah. So they removed that, rebuilt some stuff, did a bunch of, mold remediation. I don't know. Yep. There's a technique that a lot of these companies are using now that I think it's dry ice blasting.
Okay.
And so they basically use like powdered dry ice, and they are able to like sandblast this space, and then they HEPA vac everything after they're done. And they're able to clean wood with it, and without getting it wet, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, so they did a bunch of cleanup. I don't know if that's what they used here, but they vacked all the blow-in insulation out. In the process of this whole thing, the last time we talked about it, they flooded this building. The temporary roof cover that they put on over the weekend or whatever, it didn't do what it was supposed to in a pretty gnarly thunderstorm. Anyway, so they flood one of the buildings. I think maybe when we last talked, we had said that they flooded both buildings. They hadn't removed the second roof yet. Like I said,
Okay.
I was off site, and because of the mold cleanup, they didn't really want anybody else on site hanging out. So anyway, one of the buildings gets flooded. They move those tenants out. We, at the meantime, have taken out all the rooftop condensing units. We've taken out all of the units inside the units except one. We had one tenant that was being pretty particular about us being in their unit.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that resolved. Their new unit is installed. Some of the equipment that we ordered was here in the U.S. A lot of the equipment that we ordered, or a fair amount of the equipment we ordered, was not in the U.S. It was still in China. Just the way this world works right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anyway, when we last talked, we talked about, hopefully my boat doesn't sink, or whatever the argument was. And, yeah. And so conveniently, there was a port somewhere. I don't know if it was in the U.S. or in China or where all the containers were like falling off the side of the boat.
Ooh.
And there was a number of memes that people were sending that, hey, you're here. Did you see your equipment fell off the side? It's funny, haha. Anyway, so I'm kind of like, bumping the supply house, and I'm like, so where's this stuff at? Do we have an update? Has it left
Yeah.
China? Is it in the water? I don't know. I've never ordered a container load of stuff. I have no idea how this works. Is there like a UPS tracking number, that's like, whatever the Mayflower Express or whatever that, you can track and find out where your container's at?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it pretty much, we don't know until it arrives and is cleared through customs. That's when we get the first notification that, after it left port. And I'm like, okay, sweet.
This is the way it works, but we never have to check on it, so we don't know. That's the way it's always. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of our listeners may be like, oh yeah, we deal with this all the time. It's, 90 to 120 days.
Sure.
And I'm like, all right, I guess, I'm being impatient.
We're so
but
we're so
Amazon. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to deliver it on Sunday?
Yeah, like I'm watching my FedEx driver walk it up my driveway on my phone. You know what I mean? Like
right.
It's on its way. It's at the front door. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah, we can watch it from every twist and turn, and every time that box changes hands. Yeah, that's interesting.
So anyway, stories going on, and we're doing everything we can to try and keep up with. These are the parts that are available. And before they started doing the second roof, there was a lot of turmoil of, like, is that roofer going to get fired? Did the general contractor get fired? Like, what's going on? And all of a sudden we're doing the second roof. And it was like, okay, great. Well, I mean, I've got some of my equipment, but I don't have all of it.
Yeah. And at this point you had removed old equipment.
Yeah.
It's going in a container, or was it getting recycled, or what was going on?
It got recycled. Yeah.
Okay.
It was coming off, and it was never going back. It's all of the
410A stuff.
Yeah, it was all 410A, and it was all, I think, about 14 years old. So it was like, we could put it back. It's probably not going to be long. We'd already replaced a couple of them over the
moving. The cost
just wasn't
involved
good
with reinstallation wasn't. They decided it was cheaper to go, or better to go, with new replacement.
Right. In the next 5 years, we were going to be replacing probably all of these units anyway.
Right.
And so part of this thing is we're doing an energy upgrade on these units because we're going from like a 13 SEER 410A heat pumps that probably switched into strip heat at 25 degrees above zero with the Midea equipment. I'm optimistic that we can switch to strip heat at about -5, which is going to be a massive savings for everybody on electrical consumption. Not to mention the fact that, old indoor equipment was PSC motors, old outdoors were single stage heat pumps, and now we're all inverter duty ECM variable speed fans. It's just a significant upgrade. And from a cost standpoint, it wasn't, I mean, granted, equipment's expensive, but it was, if we were to replace like for like, the cost of a new unitary device, a 14 SEER heat pump, single stage, and the indoor unit was actually like $800 more per unit, indoor outdoor combination, than it was for the Midea units. So, and I've had a few people be like, oh, you're getting those from China, you must be pretty cheap, and I'm like, that's not what this is about. I didn't order these specifically because they were a cheap unit from China. That's not what Midea is. They're a top tier manufacturer, just like, Fujitsu, Mitsubishi, anybody else. They're new to the North American market because we just don't know about it. So a lot of people are like,
familiarity. Yep.
Right. And in contrary, if you install Carrier or Bryant mini splits, or now Viessmann mini splits, guess what? You're installing Midea.
And you have been for a while, because it's not a recent thing either.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were the OEM for Carrier for mini splits for not every product line, but for a long time.
Yeah. And they make parts for a lot of the other manufacturers as well.
Yeah. Their competition even.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the other day. Maybe this isn't official. Maybe I don't say the word Daikin, but I believe Daikin has a couple product lines that are made by Midea too.
Funny.
Imagine that. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
So it's a global economy.
Yeah. Yeah. And so consequently, speaking of global economies, we're waiting on strip heaters. They're specific to these units, so they were coming direct on that shipment. We're waiting on a few of the indoor units, and what was the other thing? Oh, we're waiting on controllers, wired controllers, because these are multifamily housing. They're apartments, for that matter. They're not. I don't want a RF or
Yeah.
IR remote because it's going to get lost, right? The dog ate the remote. How do I turn the heat off?
You need it to be set up more.
It needs to be
conventionally.
wired,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so we're waiting on a couple of those accessories that are in this shipment, along with all of my equipment, right? I've got a whole order that's my entire order is coming, and so my vendor here locally has been able to source all of my equipment by stealing it from other jobs that aren't ready for it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
that makes it.
so I'm grateful for that because my project's moving forward, right?
Yep.
They're not ready for us. We have equipment. Just here recently, they're pretty much ready for us. And we're moving forward. We've got equipment being installed. We installed, I think, 4 of the units last week, or in the last week. So we got stuff under pressure tests and in various stages of completion, because it's like all of a sudden it's go time, and it's September or October now. Here it is, October in Montana, and guess what? It's heating season's here. I've still got AC calls going, but I've got people calling in the morning saying my boiler doesn't work. I don't have any heat. Oh my gosh, panic. And I'm like, just chill out. It's going to be 72 in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to freeze up. But regardless, it's interesting. So I happened to be talking to a rep the other day, and he goes, well, apparently the orders got canceled.
Oh no.
And I'm
on
like,
the supplier side?
Yeah. And I'm like,
so
what do you
your
mean?
big container, full of orders that we were hoping wasn't going to sink into the ocean.
I don't know. I don't know the logistic. It's
technically happened.
I possibly, and part of it may have been a internal communication issue. All of it in response to tariffs. Just straight up.
Part of the order probably was stock. Part of the order was for your job, but they looked at it and like, well, we're not going to be able to bring this equipment in because it's stock, and we're not going to pay the extra tariffs on this because they're not going to be.
We're going to hold. Yeah. Because of the volatility of the tariffs. They're there one day and they're not there the next.
Yeah.
The way that these tariffs are working, right, is you don't pay it up front. Right. So you don't, like, when you order the equipment, if you got $1 million worth of equipment, you order $1 million worth of equipment and you pay for $1 million worth of equipment. When it arrives in port, the tariff is assessed and you pay the tariff.
No, but right? Andy, shouldn't we just stop construction until tariffs are figured out?
I don't know. Something.
That's not how it works.
I don't mean to turn this into a political thing, but this is the reality of it is when my strip heaters and my equipment arrives, the equipment that I borrowed from someone else to complete my job, they aren't going to pay that tariff, right? Because their equipment was already here. The tariffs happen when my equipment shows up. So I don't know. I'm in the loom right now. My assumption is I very well could get a bill, and there could be a not a great conversation that happens at some point in the coming future when my equipment shows up, and they're like, by the way, this is how much the tariff was, and we need some money for that. Here's the invoice. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know how Keller is going to handle it. I don't know that, right? I do know that last week I ordered some stuff from Canada, not even thinking, online order, ship this, pop, guys chuck the thing in the mail, UPS, boom, it shows up 4 days later, just like Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
And I look at it, I'm like, oh, you order over $1,000, you get, free shipping. I'm like, sweet, whatever. Ordered $1,500 worth of stuff, shows up on my doorstep. No, nothing. And I think it was yesterday morning, scrolling through my email, and here's an invoice from UPS. I'm like, God dang it, somebody hacked my UPS account again, because that's happened a couple of times. And I'm looking at it, I'm digging through it, and I'm like, no, that's $451 worth of tariffs that I just did
on a $1,500 order.
On a $1,500 order.
So you paid
35%.
nearly 30% of
35.
33, 35.
35. Yeah, 35 is where it's at right now. And so I mean, it's like, I mean, what do I do with that? I ordered the equipment for a job. I looked on the online, and I'm like, that's my price. I quoted the job, boop, ordered, sold, and then go, oh, well, okay. So if I made 30% markup on my job, I just paid 35% for tariffs. So
Yeah.
the customer gets parts at 5% under cost. How's that going to work?
It's not going to work out well for you, unfortunately.
And so now I'm pretty nervous about this whole Canada or China thing, because if tariffs are at 100%, do I order $48,000 worth of equipment and have a $48,000 tariff?
Right.
Huh.
You can't do
How's that work?
business like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wonky, and for anybody to come back at me and be like, oh, well, the manufacturer pays that. No, they don't.
That's not
They
how it
absolutely
works.
do not, because I can show you the proof in the proofs in the purchase. Would it be great if all this stuff was manufactured in the States? Absolutely. Sure. I'd love that. However, we are so far away from that being a reality, that I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
how we get there. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't like to see more manufacturing here, but I can tell you, after struggling to try and find manpower to do my plumbing business, I don't know where you're going to find manpower to go into manufacturing jobs,
Right.
because there aren't people out there itching for a low-paying manufacturing position.
No. We've told them they need
Or
$1,800 iPhones. How are they going to pay for that on a $20 an hour paycheck?
20 would be gracious.
That's how far removed I am. I don't even know what.
But you know what I mean? I mean, if you're building, I don't know, what was the other thing I ran into the other day? I ran into something. I was ordering something off a Granger or something like that, and it was like, it popped up a little window like, we don't have this item in stock, blah blah blah. We have to order, and maybe it wasn't Granger. I don't know where it was at, but it was these steel straps, like kind of like a unistrut clamp, but they're kind of a specialty thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, and it just got me thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so that's, tariffs are going to apply to this. Okay, that's who's going to do we have people that are willing to put nuts and bolts into stamped steel straps?
Only children. When we say that we lower the working age.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
That's how we're going to do that.
Yep.
Oh, I can't. It's so hard to talk about this.
for 12s.
Yeah, it's so hard to talk about this without getting all into the politics of it.
Well, and that wasn't it's not my intent, but the reality of it is that, man, if you're ordering stuff online and you're ordering it for your customer's job, be super cautious about where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I said, that online shop that I order from Canada, I mean, I was like, dang, I didn't even I knew that there was a tariff going on, but here it is, large up front and in the center. Huh. Interesting.
That's crazy. Huh.
So
the roofs are on. They haven't had AC all summer long.
Not since June. and currently don't have heat either.
Right.
So,
it's coming, but it's not like today, but it's close.
Yeah, like I say, I think we've got 3 of the units that are ready to go online, and we're going to fire those up. 2 of the units of those 3 are not going to get turned on because they're currently redoing drywall inside that unit, and I'm not firing up my unit, my brand new
handler.
high efficiency air handler, while they're doing drywall. So, and they're kind of like, the drywallers like, well, we're going to need some heat. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to provide your own, because we're not doing it. And so I haven't even physically hooked electrical up to those units outside. They are charged. They are connected. They are insulated. They're duct sealed. Drains are done. Like, they're ready to go. I haven't mounted the controller because they're going to paint, but, yeah, there's there's some headaches that are going to be that way. And then what we've found out too is the lower level units in that particular building are going to get some water damage remediation. I don't know the extent, but I'm a little bit nervous about those too, because we're going to have operational units at some point in those units, and we're probably going to have to go back and shut them off so that they can't run. But
not cool. It'd be interesting to hear how this affects ultimately in the end, how when your job is done and time is, allowed for the delivery of all this stuff, like what's going to happen to the people that were waiting on equipment that was already sold to them in stock. And then you weren't the only one that took equipment from someone else either in this time frame. Let's put that out there too. It's not unique to you. This happens often. I don't know how many times you've gotten a phone call over the years, but like, hey, can we sell this one thing to someone else?
Yeah. Do you need it yet?
Yeah, I've got that call plenty of times. Every time I sell a boiler, if I don't need it immediately, I call my supplier. I put my name on that boiler, that kind of thing, right? And so
it's still sitting there, but yeah,
it's still sitting there, can be sold to someone else, but as a like operational benefit, courtesy call, whatever you want, we have this agreement with our suppliers that like they'll offer that service in some cases, right? And so unless everything gets all screwed up like it is now,
right?
And they probably just stop doing that overall. Like we're not going to give people's equipment away because we're really going to hose somebody up. In the end, they don't look good, but interesting. So we'll have to look for an update on that again. We're just happy now that your equipment is here for the most part.
Yeah.
And now you're just kind of trying to figure out how to manage it all because you're waiting to be told when and how to install that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some of that. And like I say, it's not something that not something we anticipated.
No.
And you don't, we talked a few weeks ago about risk, and then you go, well, does this fall into that same risk category? Do I need to change my language on my quotes that, this pricing is not subject to tariff, outside tax? I mean, how do you do that? Because there's a lot of things that I'm not going to pay a tariff on, or I'm not going to be assessed that tariff. It's going to be assessed prior to me arriving at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you go to the grocery store, there's not like you're going to get done, you're going to buy all your groceries and then get a bill in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about, the reason why you're doing this is because it's not already in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So to clarify, you're paying additional on top of orders because it has to be calculated after the fact, and it's so up and down and it's not locked in. It's not placed on the equipment already because the equipment isn't sitting in a warehouse.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what, I mean, I put some, it's not related in the same way, but it's funny that we're talking about this today. Yesterday, I'd ordered some parts for the mini truck, and it's the best way to get parts for the mini truck is that I've found is a bunch of different suppliers on eBay. Parts are coming from Japan, OEM stuff for a vehicle that was never distributed here. That's what we're dealing with. We're not looking for parts off of Napa's back shelf. Right. O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly, they ain't gonna have what I need for this 1992 Honda Acti, right? 3-cylinder, 35 horsepower, 660 cc engine. Sorry.
Right.
As I'm ordering materials off of eBay, there's a banner on every one of these sellers pages as you are clicking on it that says,
warning,
you're going to get a bill, and it's going to be from the shipping department. And this is not additional shipping on top of what we charged you now. We're paying the shipping costs. You're paying for it. It's in the cost of your price. It's listed right there. But there's going to be another price, bill for you from, in this case, isn't it DHL that like everybody, that's what that's a service that comes into the United States for imports, right?
Yep.
So I'm fully prepared. I'm going to get a bill from DHL, or 3 bills because there's 3 parts. Not going to be a lot. I mean, each of these parts like $40, right? But
nonetheless, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So you've seen these bills, the invoices from UPS. right? I mean, I'm sure you have. You've shipped plenty of stuff.
Yep.
It is. I don't understand how UPS stays in business. Like I got an email, right?
Yeah.
You have an invoice. Okay. I don't have a charge account with UPS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's mind boggling. Like
How much
that
money is probably just sitting out there?
they have to be like crawling under their skin with like a mounting debt, because the number of people that are buying things from Amazon, from eBay, from Etsy, from wherever, and that, like, how do you assess that? Right? Like if UPS is bringing parts Etsy stuff in from whatever, and you got your $100 worth of Etsy from Canada, right?
Yeah.
It's manufactured goods, 35% tariff. That comes
Well,
in. If you're, a kindergarten teacher and you bought bracelet making materials for whatever
off Temu.
off of Temu, and this is coming into your classroom, do you have a UPS account? Probably not.
Gonna get a bill though.
You're going to get a bill, and I don't know how they deliver that bill to you, but I know that when it got delivered to me, it was in my promotional email box, and I was like,
Well, that's on your
"What's
end.
this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
and that's why I was like, somebody scammed my
I got
UPS account again. And then I logged into my UPS account in the appropriate direction, went back and found my billing history, and sure enough, here's this invoice.
You know how it's gonna. You know how I'm sure it's already manifesting itself is that it's going to raise the cost of domestic shipping to cover the administrative costs of implementing some kind of new software programming and way of running their business so that they can actually manage this after the fact BS that is all tariff related.
Yeah.
So we're going to pay for it in like two ways, and that price is never going to go down. We're never going to lose the additional costs that we're going to start paying for shipping just to cover the cost of this kind of stuff.
Does your local landfill still charge you a fuel recovery surcharge or something of that nature?
Oh, for like coming to pick up your garbage?
Remember like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe, there was like this oil crisis or something like that, and the price of fuel went crazy.
Yeah.
And then, so like everybody was like, oh my gosh, in response to the raising fuel costs, here's this fuel surcharge.
Yeah.
Dylan went to the dump here, I don't know, a month ago, and takes a van load of, garbage bags. It was like old insulation and plastic PVC and all the stuff we had tore out of this job that we were remodeling. He takes it to the dump and he comes back and he hands me the invoice, and it's $65 or something. Whatever. So he pays for it. And I'm looking at this invoice and it's like, $38 dump fee, then there's like $8 fuel surcharge recovery.
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God.
$8?
Like $8 on a 65?
Yeah. And I was like, what the heck? And then there's some, environmental, something legislation, blah, 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 something. And there's like 4 or 5 line items on there in addition to the
taxes.
Like, here's what the dump
They're
is.
taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not.
Well, that's fuel thing's a tax on you.
I don't know. I mean, but I was like, that's interesting. Didn't the fuel price go back down? Like, we're just going to continue with this? Oh, got it.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to a line item, you can start, budgeting it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's it. That's part of our bottom line now.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to buy a yacht. I want to know where things went sideways in Minnesota that you can go in Montana to the dump and do anything for $65. I feel like it cost me $65 to drive through the gate. I don't go to the landfill very often, which is funny because I live like 3 miles from one.
It's right down the street from you.
It is right down the road. And you'd think that I might have the opportunity to do that. I swear to God, it's years in between each visit. And every time I go, it's like $127 or something ridiculous. And trust me, I'm not going with, the refrigerator or the mattress or the couch or something massive. It's always like what you're doing. It's like, I got this junk that I don't have.
Got a water softener.
Yeah, I don't have well, I put that kind of stuff in my dumpster.
Right.
But when you get to a point where you have so much stuff, you find out, like this is the only way I can manage this.
Right.
Or you don't want to handle it twice. You just want it's already loaded in the trailer or the vehicle, and then you just go and you dump it. I get it. But yeah, mine is not At least last time I remember was never
Yeah.
close to. I'm not complaining to you about that.
No.
It's just weird. Yeah, I think that I don't think there's any other way to look at that fuel kind of stuff than a tax. And we saw those conversations in like the House Call Pro Facebook group. Like how many
Yeah.
times does that come up in it, when these things start to change and we're like, oh my God, are you guys charging fuel surcharge? Everybody's got an answer, right? But like
Right.
what happened to those customers or those contractors that said, yeah, we're putting that on there now. Are they still running a fuel surcharge or is that just built into their cost? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. And I always wondered that. And it's like, so at what point does the customer catch on and start looking at this and going, dude,
That's my
I
first.
paid $190 for the service call, and then there's another $60 in charges and fees and tax and
Yeah. People don't
wait,
like that.
wait
That's
a
the
minute.
first place I go
Yeah.
to is like, how do I just change my price so that it includes this?
Right.
Because as soon as you tell people they're paying you to drive from one place to another,
Yeah.
they think that they shouldn't have to do that. And, we have to build that
Right.
into our costs.
I mean-
Otherwise, we lose that money, right?
I recognized that years ago charging mileage. It was always an argument.
Yeah.
It is that one little tidbit of traction for the customer to be like, it's not 36 miles to my house.
Right.
It's only 32.
Right.
Why you're screwing me out of 4 miles?
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. How about I give you a $1.18 back or whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever
right.
my mileage rate was.
Yeah. Right.
And so, I mean, we switched over to it's the labor rate. You can pay me to drive one way or another.
Exactly. All right.
So anyway,
Well, we'll be looking for an update on that. Tariffs are not. Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
a touchy subject for
to be
some.
determined. Yeah.
It's definitely expensive. I don't care who you are or who you voted for. It's not going to work out in your favor right now. Maybe that'll change. I don't know.
I don't know. I agree. All right.
Sorry, dude. Well, we got to tell everybody.
Thanks for the enlightening talk.
Sorry. I want to remind everybody, leave us a comment wherever you want to find us to do that. You can do it over on Instagram. The links are right in your show notes on the app you're listening to us at. And if you're watching us on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Andy, have a good one.
Yep. Have a good one.
See ya.